Yo, what's good everybody? Today I'm gonna be giving my honest opinion on the release of All-Star Tower Defense X. Now, before I get into the video, I do want to say this is all my own opinion. Everything I'm saying is just what I personally feel like. These are all my own opinions when it comes to the pros, when it comes to the cons, the things I did like, the things I didn't like. This is all my personal opinions. Nothing I'm gonna say in this video I deem as factual, right? I just want to say that right now because in past videos where I give honest review videos, people just straight up say, no, you're wrong, stuff like this, stuff like that. But again, this is all just my personal opinion, right? Y'all can have your opinion. This is my own opinion on the release of ASTDX. So without further ado, let's get into it. So obviously the first thing you're gonna mention is the content, right? ASTDX released with a lot, and I genuinely mean a lot of content. They dropped infinite challenges, trials, they dropped PvP, obviously story mode and stuff like that. And the biggest thing is they added so many units, so many 5 stars, so many ascensions that you have to do, and all this. There's really so much content that you can honestly keep playing the game for like another 2 weeks and still not be done, honestly, because of how many units there are and just the grind for getting the ascensions and getting the units themselves, right? So that's obviously the biggest factor into why I feel like the game is really doing really well right now at 200,000 players, is because there's so much content in the game that you really just can't get bored, or you really can't finish the game, quote unquote, yet, unless everybody has their own meanings of finishing the game. But yeah, there's just so much content in the game, which is a really good thing when you release a game, especially ASTDX, which has been delaying the game for months and months now. It was supposed to release in the winter. It's right now July, so you know, 6-7 month delay there. So I was expecting this much content, and I'm glad that it came through with so many things to do. Next up, they added some cool quality of life features. Not a lot. They obviously implemented everything else that other tower defense games have, like unit manager, seamless retry, and seamless next, keybinds, and being able to look at your stage info, for example, stuff like that. But they also added some cool little quality of life features like the VFX off button, when you're in game you can just turn off VFX for that specific unit. That is actually really nice whenever you're trying to look at a VFX for a unit. And you know, I like looking at VFX in game. It's just the fact that I have sometimes when I'm playing with other people, or I'm just playing by myself and I'm placing on other units, and it gets kind of chaotic, right, to the point where my FPS drops like crazy, or it just looks like a big array of colors, right? It just gets annoying. But having that option to turn off VFX for 1 unit or 2 units, or just all units except 1, and just look at a specific unit's VFX, is actually a really nice feature that I like that they added, that I hope other TD games also implement, because looking at VFX is nice. It's just the fact that it becomes too much when you're using other characters or just playing with other people, right? The next thing is the team up features with some units. For example, Goku and Vegeta, or Naruto and Sasuke, you can team them up together and make a fusion unit, kind of like a team up unit, right? Like if you fuse Goku and Vegeta, they don't become like Vegeta or Gogeta, they just become like a tag team Goku and Vegeta, which is actually really cool because they also have their own set of attacks and stuff like that, their own set of AoEs and their own set of upgrades. It's a really cool feature that they added, and very small, that if you notice, you're gonna appreciate. Like I appreciated it a lot when I did the Naruto and Sasuke combat first time. I was like, whoa, this is really cool. Never seen a game do this. They've obviously done like Vegeta or Gogeta for like Goku and Vegeta, but not like a tag team unit where you can fuse them together in game as separate units. In terms of just being like a sick addition that they added, I think that's one of them. And the next thing I want to talk about is the graphics of the game. Now, I've seen a lot of mixed opinions about the graphics, and I definitely understand why. And in terms of the UI, I don't really like the UI. It's obviously like a little bit old-esque, right? Like a little bit of memories coming from ASTD, the OG ASTD with the UI, but it's still, you know, okay. It's a lot of nostalgia coming from it, but in terms of it actually being good, I don't really think it is good. The graphics though are actually really nice. Like if you look at the lobby, this is a beautiful lobby. Like you can't lie. This is a beautiful looking lobby. Some of the maps, I feel like half of the maps are good, half of the maps aren't. It's kind of like this or that, you know. The lobby, for example, is really nice. Like I said, some of the maps are really nice. So in terms of graphics, it definitely stepped up. Like even the cloud looks really cool. Like this might be just glazing at this point, but like the cloud looks really nice. The cloud, the visuals of it looks really nice. The graphics are really clean. It's just the fact that the UI is kind of outdated in some cases, right? Which I feel like could be changed in the future. We'll see. Maybe they might keep it like this because they want to kind of keep the same ASCD factor that they've always had. But again, mixed opinions. I feel like the graphics are really nice. UI needs a bit of a touch up, but besides that, really good. Now, next up, honestly, the biggest factor that I don't feel like a lot of people are talking about is there's no bugs. The moment I stepped foot in the game and I've been playing for a minute. I'm level 21 right now. I haven't AFK'd once too, so this is all manual grinding. I haven't encountered a single bug, unless you count the fact that whenever Grow a Garden updated and it had like 18 million players and it just broke not even ASTDX, but literally every other game. It broke every game. You couldn't go into a game. You had to wait like 10 minutes, I think, to even load into the lobby or anything. It was bad, but besides that, like, there was no bugs I've encountered yet. But yeah, I think that's all the pros that I've had with the game so far. There might have been some things that I forgot here or there. Y'all can remind me some of your pros that I haven't mentioned in this game that y'all really enjoyed. But yeah, now we get on to the cons. The first con I want to talk about is honestly the biggest factor that I didn't like the moment I heard from it about ASTDX: rerolls. I'm gonna add stats in there. I don't really care about stats. Stats aren't as big of a deal as rerolls, especially in ASTDX, where getting stats is honestly the easiest thing. I could honestly just one tap a triple S right now if I wanted to, but I'm not gonna because I'm low. But traits, right? The biggest factor for one of the reasons why I loved playing ASTD originally was no traits. You didn't have to gamble. The moment you got the unit, your grind was done. The grind was tough, but you got the unit and the grind was done. That was all you had to do, and it was fun, right? It was motivating in some sorts, right? Right now, this is the effect of traits, right? You grind for a unit, and 99% of the time, you're gonna be thinking, I pray I get an all-star, right? Because they said before the game dropped in their FAQ, traits are not gonna be as big of an impact. Look, if you add a trait, no matter how much you try to nerf it in some ways, if you make a trait give 300% damage, I don't care if you double the cost, 300% damage is so huge in any aspect, right? Even though they didn't make it 0.1, it's still a 0.2. Getting rerolls is not easy in this game as well. I feel like you're gonna have to AFK a lot to get rerolls. So this alone just made me so disappointed in terms of the game moving forward. Like, add traits, the max percentage is like 4%, 3%, even 2%, but not a 0.2, right? 0.2, 0.7, 0.8, 0.8. Like, they obviously did this for the money. Like obviously, like, there's no kicking around the bush, no sugarcoating it. They obviously did this for the money. Rerolls in general in games makes developers so much money. This was obviously why they did it. But in general, I feel like the biggest factor for ASTD originally was the fact that there was barely any monetization. But in ASTDX, I'm gonna go later into the monetization in general with the market and stuff like that. But the reroll is the first like part of it, right? I feel like they could have been so much more successful if they just didn't add traits. Stats, add stats. They're easy to get. I don't have a problem with them. But rerolls, 0.2% chance to give 300% damage. That is just, I don't know. I don't like that at all. I thought ASTDX was gonna be different than all the other tower defense games. That's one of the things I was really excited for. Is I was hoping for ASTDX to be a little bit of a refresher compared to all the current TD games, and all of them have the 0.1% chance, unique, monarch, etc. right? So I don't like this addition to the game. It's already here though. You can't blame them for adding it. Like, the amount of money these devs already probably have gone from rerolls must be crazy levels. But yeah, first con in my opinion. The second thing I want to talk about is the evos and the ascensions. They are hard, right? Now the thing is, I wouldn't have a problem with them if there was like 5 or 6 evos in the game, but there's 23 5 stars. I've counted them. There's 23 5 stars, not including the ones where you have to get a 4-star and then evo them to a 5-star, not including those. So it could be even higher than 23, right? You have to evo the units and then you have to ascend them. And ascending units is tough, right? Let me give a couple of examples. There's 2 types of ascensions in the game right now, right? The first one is like Mihawk right here, right? They all essentially have the Ghost 3 rainbow and then the Ghost 1 of whatever element they are. And then it's this evo item right here. This good from Mihawk, for example, is from challenges, the dragon fruit, right? But the thing is about these evos is the Ghost 3 takes a long ass time to get. It's a 30% chance from the expert challenge, right? 30% chance. It's guaranteed from the daily challenge, but by the time I'm recording this, the daily challenge that we have right now currently is, I think, damn near impossible. So I think you just have to grind and pray to God that you get a Ghost 3 rainbow, 5 of them. But remember, this is for 1 evo unit, by the way. If we go to a unit where this is probably gonna be my biggest con, I don't think I'm gonna talk about it until later on. I'm gonna talk about it now, actually. The NPC trials, right? Sukuna is one of the factors in this, right? The NPC trials, I don't like them at all, right? The idea behind them is actually really sick. The fact that you go to different NPCs and talk to them and do a boss like event and fight them and do that, that's actually a really sick concept that they added. However, the game mode itself, I don't like it at all, right? And the progression they lock behind it. For example, I'm gonna only talk about the all cure one because I have all cure and I've tried the one specifically, and multiple times I've tried it. This one is not easy. I tried to do this all cure one with Mihawk, Sukuna, and Ulquiorra. Yes, all non-evo, but you have to take in mind and consider that you're doing these stages to get the evolutions. You're supposed to be able to beat them with non-evo units. The only unit I think you can realistically bring is Aaron to beat these, which is kind of crazy, right? You need to bring a specific 5-star to evo other 5 stars. Like the way they did Mihawk, I think is fine, right? Of course, getting the evo items themselves, my thing with Mihawk was just getting the evos. Well, this is with every unit, right? Every ascension unit, you're gonna have to get 5 of these Ghost 3s and you have to get 5 of whatever Ghost 1 of whatever element it is, right? But with units like Ulquiorra, Sukuna, Sung Jin Woo, those are the only 3 I know personally right now. I think there's other units though in the game where you have to do the NPC trials multiple times, and 99% of times you're gonna need errands. So you're gonna need a specific 5-star to be able to complete the NPC trials to evo other 5-stars. That just together, I don't think is a good combo to make together when you're trying to evolve units, especially your first evoed units, right? I just don't think that was a good idea in general, but that's just my opinion, right? But in general, for every unit that you want to ascend, getting the evos takes a very long time. Again, my personal opinion, you guys might like the fact that there's so many evos and you're never gonna get bored and stuff like that. Next up is the intense monetization. Now, the market. The moment I saw the market, I had a immediate feeling that this game was just gonna be a cash grab. I'm not gonna lie to you. I feel like anybody who's looked at the shop thought this as well, and it really does suck seeing all this because, again, I'm gonna always bring it back to original ASTD. It was one of the least monetized games out of the TD genre I played in a minute. I didn't spend a single dollar in that game, and I was like endgame, right? You didn't need to spend money, right? Even for the battle pass, you didn't even spend Robux. You could have just waited for the banner to change, and they would just force in battle passes in there, and you could just go buy it with gems that you could easily get. It was beautiful. But with this game, they added things like this warp staff summon for $100. 8,000 Robux is $100. And you know what it does? Limited quantity, valuable to collectors and enthusiasts. Only 2,000 in existence. That's all it does. It doesn't do anything besides just being in your inventory, and it costs $100. What does this do? Demon door summon, limited quantity, valuable to collector. It's the exact same thing. It's just this, all it does is it changes when you summon. It just changes what it looks like when you summon, and it costs 8,000 Robux and 2,000 Robux. Like, what are we doing? And like in general, this whole shop, I don't feel like is worth it, especially when you go into a game, you can purchase 3x speed for one match. You have the option to buy 3x speed for one match. Whoever's gonna do that, I don't know. Please never do that though. That's such a waste of Robux. You're buying 3x speed for one match. That was honestly such a scummy thing to do. Like, I feel like there's gonna be some people who are gonna be able to fall for that and buy it for one match, which really does suck to think about. But like in general, I don't know why that was even added in the game as an option to do. Just not a good idea in general. And just the whole shop, the whole monetization, trait rolls in general, we're gonna add that in tier 2. Like, they really just went from being a very unique game, like ASTD being a really unique game, not having monetization, being unique in their own way. The grind was the units, and they just turned it into just a generic TD game, right? Which is the last thing I feel like, me personally, I'm speaking for myself, that was the last thing I wanted, right? But at the end of the day, they did it. They're gonna get much more money from this, and well, it is what it is, right? And a couple more things I want to talk about is just like, I don't think 2x speed and 3x speed was needed to be added to the game. I feel like they could have balanced the game and just sped the game up to make it doable with just 1x speed, right? There's no need to spend money for 3x speed or just have 2x speed in general, because again, it just ruins VFX as well, and I just don't think it was a great addition. But again, money. And also a little bit of a nitpick from my side is the unit targeting when you're in a match is for units that are line AoE or just circle, or any AoE, actually, just in general, any AoE. The way they made it so units target enemies is if you initially try to attack an enemy and the enemy goes out of your range while you're trying to attack, the enemy doesn't die, right? So you really have to be targeting your units to be able to really make them attack enemies, which I don't think is really good, right? Especially since this is a TD game where it's a lot of macro play, right? It's a lot of sit down, place your units and stuff like that, especially in like story mode game modes or like challenge game modes where, you know, you're just trying to really farm materials. I don't think you really want to sweat in those types of game modes, but times have happened where I was playing a story mode or a challenge and leaks literally just went by, not because my units were doing no damage. They have like 4x the damage that the enemies have. It's just the fact that they were always missing their attacks because the unit targeting is so ass, and I feel like that should also be changed immediately. It's just very annoying to deal with in most cases, especially in a hard game modes where 90% of the time you're dying to enemies and not even to bosses, just because of that, because always leaks get by. And especially with line AoE units, it's just really tedious to like try to control them. You have to be really smart with placements, especially for heal units. Heal units and the heal placements in this game are not good at all. Like for the Naruto map, the only heal placements are at the very, very front or at the very, very back. Like, I don't know why. I feel like they could have added more and better placements for heal units specifically, but again, little nitpick from my side. But in general, I think I'm gonna end the video there. I've been yapping for way too long, I think. In general, I feel like the release of ASTDX was like a solid 6 out of 10, maybe 6.5. They did some things right that I liked a lot, but they also did do a lot of things that were not good in my opinion, and I feel like they should be fixing or they should be changing in general. But again, all my personal opinion. If y'all have any of your own personal pros or cons, let me know down in the comments. I would gladly gladly read through all of them and try to respond to the best of my abilities. And yeah, I was really excited for ASTDX. I really love playing ASTD OG, and I was really hoping that ASTDX would bring that same joy that I had when playing ASTD. But right now, just from the looks of it, it doesn't seem that way. It just feels like I'm playing just another generic tower defense game, which I guess is cool for some people, yeah, but like, I don't know, the way ASTD had it back then, it was just really good. And it's not like an AA situation where, oh, I thought AA was good, but it's actually always been trash. No. ASTD, just the simplest fact that it had no traits made the whole game so much better, so much more fun, right? And that's just one example I could give you. But I really hope ASTDX comes back, fixes the problems that they have, change some things, balance the game a little bit more, and I really hope the game does succeed. But yeah, that's about it for the video. I hope you guys did enjoy. Hope y'all have a great day or night wherever you are, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.